How you guys doing? So, I just yesterday I watched the Microsoft E3 press event. Well, I'm not even called E3 press event. It was their second showcase, and I had already, went in on the first showcase. And after watching this one, Microsoft is done. I'm sorry, they might as well have just thrown in the towel because it was one of the most laziest, cookie cutter, follow the leader showcases I've ever seen. They tried to be like Sony with all those little um, transitional animations that show off the parts of the console or whatever. And then their first game was one of their main games, this being Halo, which this does not look that good, by the way. Then they did what Sony did on the second game they showed, which was, I want to say it was Gran Turismo was the second game they showed, and they showed off Forza. And there's many issues. One, nothing they showed at this showcase made me want to go out and buy a Series X. Not a thing. And this is one of the issues that comes into play when Microsoft is taking this cross-gen approach. There's no experience that is only possible on the next generation. They're not utilizing the hard drive to make, or utilizing all that CPU power to make infinitely variable worlds and stuff like that with complex algorithms and stuff like that. They're not doing any of that. It's being held back by the previous generation. And this is one of the biggest issues. Halo, the gunplay looks good, the guns sound good, whatever, and they actually look somewhat different now. But the rest of it, man, it doesn't. Why would you want an open world Halo game? Yeah, I get that it had some big levels in the trilogy, but again, the 343 Halos are fucking garbage compared to the 5 Bungie ones. It's just, and Bungie tried new things with ODST and Halo Reach, and these ones are just garbage. These goofy little open worlds that were in Gears of War, you're just like, what in the fuck? What is the point of this? And yeah, the lighting looks good and all that other stuff, right? But it's just open world games, they're not that good, especially when you take a series that's traditionally linear and you make it open world. And you know what? I know someone's going to get mad at when I say this, but tell me what part of Metal Gear Solid 5 has stayed with you? Besides raiding random bases and the desert that all looks the same. Tell me what part of that game has stayed with you. Now, given the gameplay of that game was awesome, don't get me wrong, but tell me parts of that story that stayed with you compared to 1 through 4. Exactly. And this is my biggest issue. How cross-gen games are literally holding us back. You look to the 360 to the 6th to 7th generation between the original Xbox and the 360. Yeah, you had some cross-gen games which were designed by different development teams, and they could be slightly different. And you had experiences that were only possible on the 360 on there. So everything, yeah, you have 10 times on the Series X, for example, you have 10 times, you have 100 times the hard drive throughput. You have 4 times the CPU. This is compared to the One X, by the way. You have 4 times the processing power since you've upgraded to Zen 2 architecture with simultaneous multi-threading. which is just which is AMD's version of hyper-threading. And what they've done. Oh, excuse me. And you have 10 times the graphical power, which that's all good, but for the most part, we've gone away from, like, for example, I'll get to PlayStation in a second, but what effectively you've done is generation, we're just turning up graphics and adding ray tracing. We're not doing anything to facilitate the use of, all this power we have. Yeah, we're using it for graphics, but what do I get besides graphics from buying the latest console? When I bought a 360, it was awesome because I could press a button to turn the console on. There's these experiences that, are only possible on there. There's these open world games that are only possible on there. All this is just tweaking some settings, and it's the same game. All the same games, we just turn up the graphics. Now, games, and that's why I kind of want to buy. I've any of them I would buy first would be the PS5, and I'm usually I have a PS. I've been a PS person only for the exclusives. 90% of the time I play the Xbox. But I buy all my third-party stuff on Xbox. But on PlayStation, I just buy for the exclusives. And I don't have a reason to get a Series X. I really don't. In fact, for the Game Pass, and I'm going to do a video on how Game Pass is the worst thing to happen to first-party games ever. I'm going to do another video on that. But the third-party games that they showed at this thing looked better than, made me more interested in them than any of the first-party stuff. And by the way, at the end of this trailer, at the end of this little gameplay snippet, whatever, yeah, that brute's face is like running at 480p, I swear. But let's look over on the PlayStation side. You have experiences that are only possible on there. You have that one game by the Finnish studio where the chick landed on the planet and she dies, but the whole scenery changes, the enemies change. This is by the people who made Resogun. That looks fucking cool. You had Ratchet and Clank, the new Ratchet and Clank game, where you're going through different worlds at the same time. That looks awesome. I'm wondering, Horizon Forbidden West, I'm interested to see how that is. But what ends up happening is you can't run. I'm a big time physics guy, and another thing that holds back these environmental destruction is previous gen hardware. And I was having this discussion with a guy earlier, right? We were discussing, and he scoffs off at the fact that previous gen holds back current gen, the next gen, and I couldn't agree because, well, he says that we should just port it down to the lower console and it won't run optimally. So what the fuck's the point of it putting it on the new console? That just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And see, you can't turn down physics in a game. That doesn't make sense. And you have to make other sacrifices to, like, geometry and scenery and stuff. For example, look when Crysis, the original Crysis, came to console. Look how scaled back that game had to be. And it ran like shit. That's what I'm talking about. And then I think there's a few other games on the PlayStation that make me more interested. I'm interested to see if that new Spider-Man, they're going to up the speed since you have so much of a faster hard drive. But literally, it if it looks like even the new Forza, and another thing, they showed nothing in this. They literally showed nothing concrete in this. They would show snippets of first party games that they're just cashing in on the franchise it's from. It's like, oh my god, I gotta go buy us the next iteration of Forza. What else is there? You just showed me a bunch of jump cuts with a bunch of random cars, and actually a car that's been in the series forever, since I want to say the fifth Forza game. Why the fuck are you putting it in a trailer? And once again, falling behind Gran Turismo, falling behind Sony. We got to show off all of our ray tracing. Like, really? Can't you motherfuckers? You're the most profitable company in the world. You have more money than any other company in the fucking world. You mean to tell me you can't fucking lead? You have to be cookie cutter? What? Make that make sense. Seriously, make that make sense. So, Halo is done. I've been hoping they were going to share some cooler games and just some gameplay, for fuck's sake. Seriously, just give me some gameplay outside of Halo. Give me some gameplay. We got nothing. And yeah, that'll do it for this video. Take it easy, guys.